Carlos Alcaraz, My Way. Man, I've been waiting to watch this documentary. So when I got back on Netflix, which was about a week or 2 weeks ago, this was on my list on documentaries to watch that came out this year. It's 3 episodes. The first episode is called Finding Joy in the Pain. So Carlos Alcaraz, one of the things that I like about him, he's one of my favorite male tennis players in the game. But the fact that he's a family man, that makes him respect him much even more. And that's something I can relate because I'm a family person as well. So he loves spending time with his family. And any person that is a family person, that makes it more likable. His forearm injury is something that focuses on the first episode. He deals with a forearm injury, and you see him going through the rehab and training process behind it. One thing that he said that stood out to me in this episode is that his biggest fear is that tennis will become an obligation for him. He's what, 22, 23 right now? And Carlos Alcaraz, he wants to be young, he wants to enjoy life. He loves tennis and he wants to be an all-time great, but he doesn't just want to do that. He wants to have some time to himself. And that's the thing, one of the things that stood out to me about this documentary is that he's kind of like wrestling with himself, still unsure like how he can balance both things, tennis and also things that he wants to do outside of tennis. One of my favorite parts of this episode, the first episode, is when he turned 21. Him spending time with his family, him celebrating his birthday with his family, the beautiful message that his big brother left him. I believe it was through a tablet or something like that. All of that was touching, and that was definitely that's probably my favorite part of episode 1. Episode 2, it's called I'm Not Rafa. Rafa Nadal is one of the greatest tennis players of all time. He's from Spain, just like Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos looked up to him. And many people are looking at Alcaraz as the next Rafa Nadal. They want him to take the baton. But he can't be Rafa Nadal. He is Carlos Alcaraz. He should just be himself. Or I should say that people need to view him as just Carlos Alcaraz. So they basically, a lot of sports media writers, fans in general, the public, they always want to make comparisons to the point where they want this person to be exactly like that person. And many people want Carlos to be like Rafa, and that can be the case. In the second episode, Carlos said that his goal is to become one of the greatest of all time. Like I said, he looks up Rafa Nadal. He also looks up to Novak Djokovic. I learned that he got his passion and love for tennis from his father. His father used to play tennis, and now he's living his dream through his son. You also get to see the trainers and his whole team, help Carlos build his strength, growth, endurance. And the US Open 2022 is where I could say that Carlos arrived in the tennis scene. He won the Grand Slam. But then by 2023, he was mentally fatigued because of everything that he was doing, interviews, training. It was just taking a toll on him because it was 24/7 tennis. His team tried to advise him in not to go to Ibiza he wanted to go for 3-4 days. Carlos Correa, one thing I could say about him is that he does have a mind of his own. Some would say that he's hard-headed, but I do respect that he has his own mind to speak up. So his whole team tried to tell him, like, you could do things, but don't do things when there's a tournament coming up. So I could say that they're looking out for his best interest. But as you know, Carlos Alcaraz, he wants to have his free time and he just wants to be young. And one of the things that I like about this second episode is that you get to see these grown men that are in Carlos Alcaraz team. They share their vulnerability in the sense that thinking, the sacrifice that they have to make. They barely see their families, all because they're trying to help Carlos Alcaraz become a great tennis player and win championships and things of that nature. So that whole part really stood out to me because, again, I'm a family person and I try to put myself in their shoes and try to understand them that, you miss your family, you want to be there for the big moments and things like that. And when you're working in sports, there's a lot of sacrifice that you have to make. You will have to miss birthdays, graduations, the list goes on and on. But they knew that, and they admitted, they knew what they were signing up for. They knew the risk and sacrifices that they made. And of course, I first started paying attention who Carlos Alcaraz was when he defeated one of his idols, Novak Djokovic, at the Wimbledon in 2023. That's when I started realizing, let me look into this kid more often. And that's when I slowly started to becoming a fan of tennis full time. Because although I always knew about tennis since back in 2000, but it wasn't until 2023 when I started really trying to get into tennis and understand the rules of the game and all that thing. The final episode 3, is called My Way. You saw that Carlos Alcaraz and Nadal, they worked together for the first time in doubles for the Olympics. And they were favorites. Everybody thought that they were gonna go and win the gold medal, but they didn't capture the gold medal. Carlos, he was nervous because it was his first Olympics. But it I won't say destroy them, but it hurt a lot. Both Rafa and Carlos, more Carlos, because he wanted to win that gold medal, not only for the country, but he wanted to do it with Rafa. And Rafa wanted to win it with him as well. And then it became a much excruciating pain for Carlos when he lost the singles gold medal game to Novak Djokovic in the Olympics. And that was Djokovic's first Olympic victory. He was so hurt to the point that he was visibly in tears. And it got worse after that because he started to hit rock bottom. What was the event? The Cincinnati Open. There we go. The Cincinnati Open, where he broke the racket in frustration, and social media went crazy. But it's very rare that you see Carlos snapping the way he did. But he's human, But he's a man that you could tell that he was brought up right. He owned up to his mistakes. He apologized. Carlos, he's one of those athletes he's hard not to like. And we hope that in these next 5-10 years, he wins more. And because he started off so young and because he's been winning so much, by the time he's 25 or 30, he could retire and he automatically will go to the Hall of Fame. I don't see Carlos playing all the way till he's 35 or 40. I could be wrong. But in his case, he won't need to go that far. But it all depends on his health and where he stands at the time. But I enjoyed this documentary, 3 episodes. my review from 1 through 5, I'll give this a 4.3 out of 5 stars.